everyone, happy Thursday. We are doing a blood typing lab today. We are going to mix our knowledge of blood types and our knowledge of pedigrees to help this family in need. So you should have this lab in front of you. Either you can print it out and have it sitting in front of you, or you can have it on your iPad or on your computer, just however you want to take notes on the lab and write down the data. You also can just have a blank piece of paper if that's how you want to write down your data as well. Let's read the introduction to get started. Welcome, Dr. Blank. You need to write your name in that blank spot because today you are the doctor that's going to be testing the blood samples to help these patients. So you are going to either write your first or your last name in that blank next to doctor. You have a busy caseload today. You are looking through your files for the day ahead and you hear a page over the intercom calling you to the emergency floor. When you get to the floor, you find out that a couple has just been brought in. John, a male, and Susan, a female, were hiking in the woods, and a bear attacked them. They both need blood transfusions. The blood banks are low on blood supplies, so you need to ask family members if they are willing to donate. The only problem is the family members, children and grandchildren, do not know their blood types. Your task is to test blood samples of the Smith family members and see who is able to donate. Here is the pedigree of the Smith family. Let's first look at our pedigree and see how everyone is related before going into our blood typing section. So here are John and Susan. They are our victims of the bear attack, and they are the parents, and you can see John and Susan are married, right? They have the horizontal line in between them, and then they're the parents of Mike and Jen right here. Remember, boys are squares and girls are circles. So John and Susan have two children, Mike and Jen. Mike married Anna, and they had two children, Jess and Ellen. Jess and Ellen are both girls. Over here, Jen married Nick, and they had two children, Nicole and Dylan, so a girl and a boy. So John and Susan are the grandparents of Jess, Ellen, Nicole, and Dylan. And all these people have the opportunity to donate to John and Susan. We just have to see whose blood type will be suitable for the transfusion. All right, so obviously the first thing you need to know before going into this lab is what type of blood John and Susan both have. So to begin, you test John and Susan's blood. John's blood tests as A. He is IA. He's homozygous for A. Susan's blood tests as AB. IB. Remember, blood typing is co-dominant. Record your blood types on the pedigree above. So you want to make I would make it known, I would do their genotype. So I would write those up here in the pedigree, what John and Susan are. I would write their genotypes, but if you want to write the phenotype, if you just want to write A and AB, that would be fine as well. And then the other thing you're going to do is fill in the Punnett square below and see what blood types Mike and Jen might have. Because Mike and Jen are the children of John and Susan, there's only a few blood types that they'll be able to have because John is A and Susan is AB. So remember to use your eyes in your Punnett square and go ahead and fill that in, like always, to see what the options are for the children of John and Susan. Then you want to answer these questions. Which type of blood is universal donor? Which is the universal recipient? If John has type A blood, what blood types can he receive a transfusion from? And if Susan has type AB blood, what types of blood can she receive a transfusion from? You want to write down both those answers on here. The answers to the universal donor and universal recipient questions are in your notes. Okay, all of the Smith family members have arrived to the hospital. The nurse takes the blood samples from each person and puts them in vials for you. Today, our vials are going to be Dixie cups because we're not at school, so I don't have vials to put the blood in, but I do have Dixie cups. So our very scientific blood samples are in Dixie cups today. To find the blood type, add a few drops of anti-serum to each vial. If the blood clots, then the result is positive. For example, if the A blood clots from anti-serum A, but the A blood does not clot from anti-serum B, then the person's blood is type A. So if we're looking, clotting, we're looking for something that looks kind of like this, with like some chunks in it, and then not clotting obviously looks like that, just kind of liquidy. Over here, it shows us the positive and negative reactions. So clumping is positive and no clumping is negative. And then down here, it shows you the reactions with the different serums and whether or not they're positive and negative and what that means for the blood type. So if it's blood type A, anti-serum A will clot, but B will not. If it's blood type B, anti-serum A will not clot, but B will clot. If it's AB, they both clot. And if they're blood type O, neither of them clot. So now we're gonna go ahead and test all the blood of the family members. You can write pluses and minuses and then figure out the blood types and write them down for each person. And then we'll figure out who can donate to who in the family. Okay, so here we have all the samples of blood from the family members. There are 8 of them, so there's 8 blood samples here. You can see they all look the same, so we can't tell what type of blood they have based on how they look, but I do have them labeled with the people's names, the family members' names of the Smith family. Over here, I have all the different anti-serums, and I have a different one for each person. So I have an A and B to test for each of our different people so that everyone has a sterilized test for their blood type. So let's get started. All right, I'm gonna start with Ellen's blood. I'm gonna go ahead and get a sample of Ellen's blood. I'm gonna put 2 drops on our sample plate. So we have Ellen's blood right there, and now we're gonna test it with both of Ellen's anti-serums. So there's anti-serum A and anti-serum B, and I'm gonna put one in one and one in the other. I'm gonna do A on the left and B on the right. So we're getting a little bit of anti-serum. Oh, I still have some blood in my pipette. Let's get a little bit of Ellen's anti-serum A, and we're gonna go ahead and put it into Ellen's blood. Then we're gonna get a little bit of anti-serum B, and we're gonna put it into the other blood drop. So now we're looking at our 2 different blood samples here. I would definitely say that this left one is clotted, so that would be a positive test, and this one over here is not clotted, so that is a negative test. So you should put a positive for anti-serum A and a negative for anti-serum B for Ellen. All right, let's do Nick next. We're gonna get a blood sample from Nick, 2 drops on our plate. Clear out the dropper. We're low on supplies because I'm not at school, so we're only using 1 dropper, so we gotta clean it out really good in between so we don't get any cross-contamination. Nick anti-A. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do Nick anti-B. Oop, gotta get it in the drop. And we're looking, again, clotting is positive and not clotting is negative. Not clotting just looks like liquid. Clotting is gonna look like it has, or it's not uniform. So that is Nick. So make sure you write positives and negatives for Nick. Let's go with Mike. We'll get Mike's blood up here. Again, we're gonna take a sample. We'll do 2 drops on our sample plate. 1, 2. I'm gonna clear out our pipette. We gotta do his anti-serum A and anti-serum B. I'm always going to do A on the left and B on the right just to kind of keep it uniform. So let's go ahead and find Mike's A and B. Where is he? Right here. Here's his B. Here's his A. So I'm going to take a little bit of anti-serum A and I'm going to put it on the first drop. Whoops. I'm going to try to put it in the drop would be good. Okay. Got to clean my pipette. And then I'm going to go ahead, or my dropper, I guess. It's not even really a pipette. Then anti-serum B for Mike. And I'm going to go ahead and drop it in his second one. And we're going to look to see what's going on for Mike. If it clots, it's positive. If it doesn't clot, it's negative. Go ahead and write down the data for Mike. On to the next. Let's test Anna. We'll get some of her blood. 2 drops of sample on our plate. Cleaning out our medicine dropper. And we're going to go into her anti-A and anti-B. Here's her anti-A. Cleaning out our medicine dropper. Here is her anti-B. We're looking. Go ahead and write down your positives or your negatives for Anna. All right, we're halfway there with the family. Let's do Jess. We're gonna get her blood sample. Two samples on the plate. We gotta find her anti-A and anti-B. They're of course really far away from me. They're back here. Jess. We're gonna do anti-A first. Okay, and then we'll do our anti-B. We're gonna look at our results, write down our positives and our negatives for Jess. All right, Nicole is next. We're gonna get Nicole's sample, put it on our plate, try not to make a mess. Oop, that was a big blood drop. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Nicole's anti-A and anti-B. Anti-A is first. Anti-B is next. We're looking, we're writing down positives and negatives. Positive is clotting, negative is not clotting. All right, last one. Let's keep it going with Jen. I'm gonna get her samples of blood. Clean out our medicine dropper. I'm gonna go ahead and grab her anti-A and anti-B. I'm gonna do anti-A first. We're doing a nice procedure, following the same procedure every time. Anti-B. Take note, or I'm sorry, that's anti-A. Take note of what it looks like. And then we'll go ahead and do anti-B. Take note of what it looks like. I'm gonna add a little bit more anti-B just so I can be sure that you can see the results. There we go. Yeah? Positives and or negatives for Jen. Go ahead and write those down. Last but certainly not least, we have Dylan. Let's get his sample. Put it on our plate. Clean out my medicine dropper. And we'll do his anti-A first. Okay, go ahead and do his anti-B. We're looking at it, we're writing down our results. All right, you should have a nice filled in lab report with your pluses and your minuses. Remember, if they're positive, you can go ahead and follow this chart and figure out whose blood type is which. If they're both negatives, they are O. Remember that one, I know sometimes that gets a little bit confusing. Last thing you gotta do is answer the post-lab questions. Which members of the Smith family can donate to John? Which members can donate to Susan? Based on the pedigree, what's the genotype for Ellen? Remember, genotype with blood typing uses the I's. And then number 4, suppose Dylan marries a woman with blood type O. Is it possible for any of their children to have O blood? Why or why not? Use the Punnett square to help explain your response. You need to send me all 3 pages of this lab by Monday. If you guys have any questions, please email me. I would love to clarify. I hope this was fun for you. I know it's definitely more fun to do than to watch, but I'm glad we had the opportunity to still do it. Again, email me if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon. Bye.